right, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Today we are working from home. It's one of my remote days, but we are currently going through a fire drill. I am waiting to know what the fire is, but we are going through a fire drill today. So in case you don't know what that is, we are being told to kind of like, we're gonna have to stop what we're working on and work on this other thing. I just don't know what that's gonna be. So until we get more, because we're just being fed information from my manager, like one message at a time. So until that happens, I'm going to continue on with my daily, with the stuff that I need to work on today. So the first thing is getting a couple of reports updated. These are jobs that I have automated where it runs my query, and I have it set so it sends me an Excel file, because this particular file has to be updated through a Google Sheet, and I don't have the ability to connect. I need to look into that. Can we connect? Because I know I can do it through Excel, but Google Sheets, it's like a file that's shared access, where Excel files, like you would have to, email it out to everybody every day, where this is like, it's housed on a site. They can go and click the file, and anyone who has access to it can see the updated. But I don't know. I know in Excel, I can connect it to the database, and like the enterprise data warehouse, I can connect it there and just hit refresh, enter my credentials, and it will refresh all the data. I don't know if we have the ability to do that in Google Sheets, or like if my company allows us to do that in Sheets, because we are pretty new to using the Google suite of products. We've only had it for a couple of years now. I think like right when the pandemic started is when we were like transitioning out of all of like Microsoft products and moving over to Google. They had some, like I think I had a little bit longer than other people, because I was a part of like the team that they were doing the pilot on, testing it out, and everyone else in the company was, look, I think the VPs, I think they're still using like Microsoft Outlook and stuff like that. I don't think they switched to Gmail. If you ask me, I don't think they switched, because I didn't want to switch. Anyways, back to what I was actually talking about. I don't know if I have I've never tried and I've never looked into it, but maybe worth, because if I can just refresh, like put my code or have it grab a table and refresh it that way, that would be a lot easier to do. As this file, it's currently in Excel because the data is in a pilot stage. It's been in a pilot stage for over a year. I am running the code and doing the data, and someone else on my old team was doing the work to see, okay, like he has some pivot tables set up on hidden tabs that he goes in and looks at based on what data I'm refreshing monthly in here. So it's been going on since November of 2022. I took over the reporting and updating that sometime last year. I can't even remember how long I've been doing it. Because it's in a pilot stage, they don't want to invest time or effort or money into putting it in a Tableau dashboard or in a Click dashboard, because they don't know if the program is going to continue. Right now, it was kind of being sponsored. Like it was month over month. They would have to go and get approval for this pilot every month. But then it started being quarterly approvals. Because I'm not on that team anymore, I don't know where it is. But when I checked with someone, when I checked with the guy that does like the monthly updates, he said that the program is still going on. I just don't know as far as the reporting piece where that's going to go. So for the time being, it's in Google Sheets. So the way I have it set up, code is automated. It sends me a file with all the refreshed data, and then I just update this Google Sheet on a daily basis with the results. That's one of like my standard reports that I update every day. And I just make sure that, there's no duplicates, because there shouldn't be. This is a report that's looking at the manager results. So I just make sure that I'm capturing everyone. Like when we have changes in the structure in the business and the hierarchy, I need to make sure that I'm capturing, new leaders and that type of thing, or any changes that are impacted from hierarchy changes in the databases. Then yesterday I got a new project from my manager. I need to do some work at the individual sales rep level and look at their performance to see, like for sales, they have quotas. They're compensated based on their attainment to these quotas and other things. And they get other kind of like payouts based on performance as well, I guess you would say. One of the things that we were looking at, or that I was looking at, was the performance, like the overall market performance from August of last last year and to see how it's trending through March month to date. We're almost at the end of March, or we're at the end of March. So I've been looking at the trending. I had to move you guys out the way. So like when I look at performance, and we're looking at like third, fourth quarter. So the performance was kind of high as far as like their attainment to target, like for market performance, they were over 100%. And then in December, every market's performance dropped to around the 80% range. And it's kind of like, what happened in December? Because you would think like, oh, November is, we're in fourth quarter one. Most companies go from red to the black in fourth quarter, and especially around Black Friday in November. And we saw a drop in December. So you would think like it's still the holidays, people are still buying and spending money. So you think their like performance would kind of relatively stay the same, but like a 20% drop, that seems significant. And then it went up slightly in January, and then February, it just went right back to over 100%. So what I'm doing is analyzing this performance month over month. I've been given some data. The data's been given to me in Excel. It's so much. Like I have at least 12,000 rows in each file. I need to visualize this data. So one, I want to clean up each month's data a little bit in Excel, make sure I don't have any duplicates, make sure I don't have any, and let me just clarify, make sure I don't have duplicates as in I have 2 rows of data that are exactly the same. So because this isn't looking at individual performance, they can be on this file multiple times. So that wouldn't be considered a duplicate in what I'm doing. Like the person's name being listed more than once wouldn't be considered a duplicate. It would be considered a duplicate to me if they have the same row of data listed twice. I would need to look to see why that is, because like if it has your name, your employee ID, the same day, the same result listed twice or more than twice, that's duplicate data. So I would want to know why it's duplicating. So look for duplicates, look for missing data, look for anything that is a null value, and kind of understand why. Sometimes you're going to have nulls and that's perfectly fine, but just understanding why. Because for example, if I have someone that's missing data in January, missing data in February, that's someone that I personally wouldn't want to include in my analysis because they may have been out of the business, you know, those 2 months that they don't have performance results. I started working on analyzing some of the performance results and trying to see like, okay, so at the market level, we saw this significant spike in February. So what happened? And when I look at February over January performance, it's like we had a 40% increase in the amount of sales reps hitting their quotas. Okay, what's going on? Now I can go back and look and investigate a little bit further to see, okay, what's going on in January? Also, possibly what happened in December that not a lot of people were hitting their quotas. So one of the things I'm going to look at is, do we have a lot of people that just have no results? And it could be like, again, they were on vacation, it's the holidays, blah, blah, blah. So we'll see, but I need to go through reading all of these messages from my manager because she's just giving us feedback as this call is happening that they're on what's changing for April. Because one of these initiatives that they were pushing for sales to help improve 2 particular metrics, they're like, okay, we're not going to continue with that initiative. Huh? Like everything we discussed doing last week is changing. So they still want to continue to focus on on sales for these 2 metrics. Bring 125 to 120. So just so you know, like with sales, we work a lot with our finance partners because sales is directly tied to money. And if you are having your rep to go after selling a particular product, that means if they sell more, you have to pay them more. So our finance team has to model out what that looks like. And
let's be perfectly honest,
when they're modeling this stuff out, they're looking at performance. So a part of the work that I'm doing, looking at performance. And then also, what's the potential of these people hitting these new goals that they're being given? And how much money is that going to cost the business by them going after these particular sales? How much money are we going to pay out? So when they're modeling this out, they are looking at, okay, so what if 10% hits it? What if 20% hits it? What if 30% hits this sales goal? What amount of money are we paying them? Anyways, let me get back to cleaning up this data a little bit in Excel and I'll talk you through it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start working with this data in Tableau. I'm going to connect to Excel and drop, well, one of them, and drop it in here. And then at the bottom, it kind of gives you this summarized table of your data that you can kind of preview at the bottom, and make sure that you have all of your columns there. I'm going to actually delete a couple of the columns that it brought in because I don't need that in here. I need to have it in my Excel file, but I don't need to have it in this Tableau workbook. So I'm going to hide these columns of data. So not delete, I'm going to hide these columns. And just keep in mind, whatever you do on this page, so if you add any filters or anything, just know that when you go to a worksheet or a dashboard page, that will apply there. Any filters, data type changes, those things, it will apply. You will see that when you go to do your visualizations or start analyzing your data. All of these columns that I just hid on my data source are not showing available when I go to my first worksheet. So for me, what I need to do is I need to work on adding in three files in total, uploading them, and then when I'm connecting more than one file, it creates like a table that you can use to kind of join them together, kind of like you would do a join in SQL. You can join the data together here as well on fields that they have in common. Okay, so I had to pause for a minute and respond to a message, but I just dropped in my second file, my February file. So what I'm going to do is drop that on to the data connections and connect them. So now I need to establish a relationship. I need to tell Tableau, how do I need to connect these two pieces of data? So I'm going to select the field that they have in common. You can choose multiple fields that they have in common to connect them. So I'm going to do that. So it has my February data, my January data, and I'm just telling them how to establish the relationship, which is like a join, but not necessarily called a join. I think I said join earlier, so excuse me for that, but it is a way to kind of like connect them together like a join would be, but for this, it's called a relationship. You can do joins in here where you can join data together, but for what I'm doing, it's called a relationship. So I am joining by the sales ID. I'm saying the sales ID in my January data should match the sales ID in my February data with this relationship. The employee name should match from January to February. And then I'm also going to say that the markets from January and February should match. So that's how I'm establishing to relate this data together to join them. And I will do, once I get my March data in here, I'll do the same thing. So I am going to go through my February data and again, hide the columns that I don't need to come over into, from my data source to come over into the visualization data, because there are columns that I need to retain in my Excel file, which is why I didn't delete them there. With Tableau, it kind of like sits on top of your Excel file. Like changes that you make to your Excel file are not going to automatically translate to Excel. And these changes that I'm making in Tableau are not going, like me hiding these columns of data, it's not going to hide that data in Excel. So I have, when I go to my sheet one, I now have two tables of data and they're labeled. It has January data, it has February data. So I can now start doing some visualizations or analyzing the data. So what I'm going to do is pull over our employee information and the rows. So it lists one individual employee per row, and then I'm going to look at their January percentile and then their February percentile. And this is just like a text table that I'm creating. So I'm going to look at the count of people that hit their quota for this particular sales metric in February and in January. So I have a column that's telling me whether or not they hit yes or no. And then I have their sales ID, and the sales ID is like a text field, but what I'm going to do is to convert to a count, like the measure, I'm going to change it to a count, and then I'm going to duplicate this count. Actually, I'm going to duplicate the count of sales ID so I can change it into a percentage actually, because I can see 6,000, we have 6,000, over 6,000 that hit, almost 4,200 that didn't, and then I'm going to do that again, but I want it to be a percent. So I have it as a percent of the total. So we have over 61% that met it in February, and about 38% that, and then I'm going to add in our market data so I can see this broken out by market. And I'm going to switch this. So I need to go back and look at this data because We have some people that don't have a market. Okay, I need to go back and look at my Excel file and see, because there's some people that it's not showing a market for. I don't believe I saw that. Okay, let me look at my February data. And I'm going back and looking at my Excel file, you guys, because I don't remember having any nulls. And actually, let me add in I'm going to add in the employee name in Tableau so I can see. Who is it showing? Oh crap, I added it wrong. Okay, let me add it after the market name so it shows me everyone that's a null. I'm gonna search this employee on my file. One of the employees that's coming back null. No, he has a market in my data. Oh, okay, never mind. This was a user error. I pulled the region from January. They weren't in the report. January? Yeah, they weren't in here in January. They are not in my January data. So again, like, I don't know if like this employee is new to the business, or maybe they were out of the business, but they aren't on my January file. So more than likely they're new, so I don't have any January data on them. So they weren't showing a market in January. So that's why it was coming up null. Oh, I don't know. Y'all are asking a lot of questions I don't have the answer to. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. I'll check back with you guys later because I have a call coming up that I need to be on. So I'm going to pause working on this Tableau dashboard, go to this call, and then I think I'm going to go to lunch, and I will see you guys after that. Okay, it's time for this call. Oh, I'm late. I'm just sitting here. Okay, you guys, so that meeting was a lot, but thankfully it's over. I'm about to take my lunch break, which I need to go out for a bit. So I'll see you guys when I get back. I'm back from my lunch break, about to hop on another call, but I need to respond to someone that is asking me about, I think this is a project I worked on back in 2022. They're asking me about a dashboard. My understanding is that I thought they pulled this dashboard down, like our database admins asked us what dashboards we didn't need anymore because they were going to pull them down. That's what I remember. I thought they put this down, and this dashboard that I created was only to help out another team because they had this epic JIRA ticket and they needed people to help out from other teams to help them get these projects completed so it could launch. And from my understanding, these projects launch. Most of the people that were on that team for this specific project are not even on that team anymore because we had so many org changes. So, but this one they're asking about tickets, and I'm like, this shouldn't, I stopped my job that I had automated for this when they told me they were taking it down. Like, it shouldn't be updating. Look, I don't even think I'm a part of the tab because I'm in a different work group. So we have a different Tableau site, the one that I'm the admin of. I don't even think I have access to the old Tableau site that I was on, that it would have been like, this shouldn't be published. Like, it was never published. Where are you? Is he just seeing this on the back end? I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know where he's seeing this dashboard at, but he's asking me, you created this report with these tickets. Is there a report within Tableau we can show the number of tickets? I don't know because I was just working on this to help out this other team. So I don't know what other dashboards they created. I only created this to help fulfill a ticket. They were asking anyone who had bandwidth, can you hop on and help out with this? Like, there were hundreds of JIRA tickets that they needed help with. So if it's specific to this project, then you need to reach out to whoever owns it on that team. I only created it. Okay, hello. My password is wrong? Oh no, it's the server. It's not my password. We have a different server name. Crap. I'm gonna have to go into another, I can't remember the server name. See, it was that long ago. We went through a server change. This is still tied to the old server, which no longer exists. So I need to update the server name, then I can sign in. From what I remember, it was to look at the counts of tickets issued. Okay, let me hop on this call before. I do not like this little case. I need to join. Oh my God, why is this so long? I guess I need to be on camera. Y'all, I swear my team is driving me crazy because we keep sending out these communications on reporting and things happening, and like our communications team we tell them, hey, this communication needs to be sent out. This needs to be sent out. But people are asking us questions and I'm like, did we tell them this? Like, why don't we have a place on our shared drive where all of this, or at least put it in our team Slack, we notified people about this. Like, we have no, like, I'm finding out about things by employees asking questions and it's not helpful. Just my little mini rant. He wants leadership getting their spiff data from your team. And see, like, everyone wants access to these dashboards and it's kind of, we don't even have the summary. Okay, I will ask them. Okay. I don't even know why I'm recording at this moment. Like, there's just so much going on. Like, what time is it even? It's 3:15. I'm supposed to be leaving in 15 minutes. I'm supposed to be done with work in 15 minutes. It doesn't look like it's gonna happen. There's just so much to do. Oh, let me forward this email. Oh my gosh. Can we stop saying... Okay, no words, no words.